loves, it's Kat. How are you? What are you doing? I hope you're good. Today we're gonna do a past life reading, and this is so interesting to me because I have actually been to regression therapy and I have a story of my very own and I'm dying to share it with you. So today we're gonna find out who you were in your past life. What did you do? How did you die? Is there some information that would be needed in your current life? Or was there some unresolved business in your past life that needs to be resolved in this lifetime, hopefully? Well, we're gonna find out. So what you need to do is to choose a card or a crystal. We have card 1 with Desert Rose and card 2 with Polka Dot Agate and card 3 with Garden Quartz. When you have made your decision, go down to the description box to find your timestamp. I will give you a few seconds to decide, and when you're ready, I will see you at your reading. Hello, my beautiful pile number 1. So you chose the Desert Rose and Scribe or Writer. I'm gonna get a few more of these past life cards to get some more information, but that card speaks for itself. It's likely that you still have that desire to write. Could be poems, could be songs, could be journaling, could be writing a book. Maybe you are a journalist or you want to become one. It is likely that you still have this desire to write. Pile number 1. I'm also being taken to like a lawyer. Maybe you're studying to become a lawyer. We have a farm card. I'm actually seeing like a person writing letters in this past life, and like a candlelight, and perhaps love letters. Pile number 1, spirit guides. Pile number 1. Tell me about their past life. Who were they? Pile number 1. Who were they in their past life? Oop, okay. Always on the floor. Transportation. Instead of a train, I see like a carriage pulled by horses. I'm really horrible with history because I started to think like which time this would have been in, but honestly my history is horrible. I'm a science girl. I don't know anything about history. It's really embarrassing actually. When I went to school, we actually didn't have much history taught in my school. Like by the time I went to high school, I was completely confused by everything that the history teacher said because I had never even heard of anything like that. And it's really embarrassing. So I can't tell you the time. To be honest, I'm taken to like 1800s. So perhaps that is it because I see the 1800 in my head. Pile number 1, spirit guides. Who were they in their past life? Who were they? I'm mostly seeing a girl. Oh, I see. Okay. So in this past life, you grew up in a farm, and I see that you wish to be somewhere else. You wanted to go and explore the world, and you loved books, you loved reading, and it's almost like, you know, like Belle in Beauty and the Beast, like how she reads all of these books, and it's like like when she goes to the bookshop, or is it a library, and he's like, well, where do you want to go? And like she's like exploring the world by reading books, and that is completely what I see. I also see the Chariot, like you really wanted to go and see the world, but you were sort of stuck in this farm with your family. And I feel like you had almost like a pen pal who you would write to. And I feel like this might have been like a family friend of yours who did go out to see the world, but I think it was different because I feel that this person was a boy and he was more able to go and see the world, but you as a girl in this lifetime, you didn't have that kind of freedom. You had to stay with your family until you were like married off. And so you were really resentful, you really wanted to go and see the world, and you loved the letters that you got from this pen pal and how he described the world to her. And I'm not sure if you were in love. I feel like you were more in love with the life that he was living. I get this, like you were like a little rebellious, like in Bridgerton. It's, oh, well, what's her name? Eloise. Like she doesn't fit into the whole, like, balls and pretty dresses, and, you know, she doesn't belong in that world. And she wants to do what she wants and be independent and not get married. And just, like, be herself, because she is really smart and everything, and she doesn't really want to get married. Pile number 1, spirit guides. Pile number 1, tell me about the life of my beautiful pile number 1s. I have a feeling that you made it in this past life. You did. I almost feel like you ran away, or you found a way to go somewhere. 5 of Cups. But I feel like this might have been a mistake to you. It's almost like somebody, I'm being taken to the Seven Sisters book, and the story of this one, the main character's ancestor, like great grandmother, her story. And she lived on a farm and she wanted to see the world, but she was an incredible singer. And so I don't remember the book very well, so I might get some details wrong, but this one person, this man, came and said that he wanted to make her a singer and to sing in like a full audience, and, you know, but it was almost like a huge mistake, because eventually this man wanted to marry the girl, and she left him. And there was also a time where she lost a baby, and she delivered that baby on her own. And I think the baby was born, like stillborn, but I don't think that this is like what happened to you. I'm just being taken to that story, like it was a mistake. Like she didn't think that it would be like that. She thought that she would have these adventures and stuff, but it's almost like somebody gave you a chance that you thought that, yes, this is the chance of my lifetime. Almost like you were taken in as like a babysitter or something, or like a maid or something, and it turned out to be absolutely horrible. That is something that I see here. Like she's almost like almost like you were wishing to go back home, because this is not the life that you wanted. This was absolutely opposite. Like you were in this new city where everything was new, and a lot of people in there, but I feel like you were almost like taken in as almost like a slave to the people. Like you had to do everything, and you never actually got to go outside the door, and you felt that this was a huge mistake. Pile number 1, spirit guide. What was their life like? Oh. But you did get away. We have the Empress. I feel like you ran away from these people with the help of someone. You just ran off. And you were able to get the life you wanted. Yes, look, seven of Swords. Like this is like literally like a thief running into the night, and this is what you did. You weren't the thief, I don't think. Perhaps you did take something, but it was more like you took something that already belonged to you. Like perhaps it was like money or something they were supposed to pay you, but they didn't pay you enough, so you took the money that they owed you and you just ran off. And I feel like the person that I described to you, this is 6 of Cups. I feel like you were childhood friends, and you probably fell in love later, because I feel like you wrote to this person when you were with this family or in this house that they took you in. You still kept writing to him, and you asked for advice or like help, like how can I get out of here? And he came and almost like saved you, and you just disappeared. And it's almost like they didn't even look for you. They just like let you go. Like you ran off, but they didn't like come searching for you. They just said that you were ungrateful and you didn't understand everything that they had done to you. Like they had taken you from your home to see the world like you wanted, but it wasn't as they described it. Like in their head, like you were ungrateful and you should have been thankful for the chance that they had given you, which was total bullshit, because they didn't respect you at all, and they kept stealing from you. I think like I kind of like see you like running out like with things that already belong to you that might have like been taken away, and I feel like you wrote these letters in secret and you gave them to like another housekeeper or someone to mail them for you. And this is how it was like being kept a secret, because the other like maids and workers in the house, they felt your like disappointment, and this wasn't what they wanted, and you were treated unfairly. And so they helped you like send those letters to your family, to this pen pal you had who came to rescue you, sort of. Like, you had to run away, but he was the one who then, like, almost like saved you. Like, he gave you the chance for escape. And I do think that you ended up getting married and you ended up having children, but you were always afraid of these people finding you and like taking you back. And it was a really sad story, but also you got your happy ending. But I feel like you had this fear of somebody, like, look, these two young people, like, being all cute and like perhaps falling in love, and then there is that one person looming in the background. Ooh, I'm getting the shivers. Anyway, you did get the life that you wanted eventually. And I think that you made it, you became kind of like wealthy. I think that this boy, this husband, he came from wealth. But I almost wonder, like, how did you then come across each other as young children? It could have been that your family, your parents were friends and they came to visit you at the farm and stuff, and that is how you like met them in childhood, and then you like hit it off and you kept writing to each other because you had similar interests. Like, he wanted to see the world and you wanted to see the world, but you couldn't go. And I feel that this boy was deeply in love with you, but you were more interested in this, like, seeing the world. Like, you were in love with the idea of seeing the world and traveling across the world and seeing everything. And then these people who came in to give you a quote-unquote chance, they just like abused you and used you, and just like they came and took you away from your family. At first you were excited, like, this is exactly what I wanted. Finally I got away, like, I don't have to like milk the cows or anything like that anymore, because I'll be living in this beautiful big house and I can look after the children and cook, and like it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be in this city and I can see the world a little bit more. And then everything turned sour because they were very abusive towards you. But in the end, happy ending, you married this boy, and I think that you had children. I'm not sure. I feel like you had mixed feelings. I'm not sure if you were truly in love with this person, but he was in love with you and he was ready to give you everything. And after this experience, you did feel like you needed some support. You needed someone you can count on, who can like keep you away from these people who might come after you. And it was more out of like, you didn't hate this person, you loved this person, but more as a friend. But you married this person to feel safe and secure. And it's not like you were stuck with this person. You were like best friends, but you didn't have the same love for this person as they had for you. And in the end, you did see the world somewhat, not to the extent as you had hoped, but this experience in this house where they abused you, it kind of made you mature, and you had to grow up very quickly. And it's almost like you gave up on your childish dreams, almost like. And like, you know, you did see the world eventually, but then you had children and you had to settle down. And it's not like you hated the life that you had, it just wasn't exactly as you had hoped when you were a child. but this is something that you just kind of like let go of, because you know it was a childish dream to even like think of such things, and this is real life, and I have to be married, and you know, to be safe and so on. So you had a wealthy husband, you had a decent life, you weren't unhappy, but you weren't actually like super happy either. Like you were content, and you didn't really hold resentment too much. It's almost like you blamed yourself for having these childish dreams still, like many decades later. Like you still wish that you could go and like see the world, but it just didn't go that way. Because eventually obviously this husband and you had to settle down. He needed to find a job and, you know, create a life and build a house, and, you know, or like buy a house and so on. And so you were content, but you weren't overflowingly happy. Like at this time, it wasn't even a thing to be it wasn't really a thing to not get married. So you knew that you had to eventually, but you had hoped that before that happens, I could see the world and, you know, have adventures and so on. But then it was almost like you were robbed, like your money, the essence of you, your dreams, your time, your energy. It was robbed away from you by these people who abused you. And you kind of like gave up on these dreams of seeing the world. You did see something. You didn't like... I feel like you moved to another city from this city that you originally moved in. You did move to somewhere else, but I think that was the extent of it. And maybe you visited some family or friends, but you never actually got to see the world as its entirety. You saw much more than you would have if you had stayed in the farm, but much less than you had hoped. But you were safe, you were content, you had a person who loved you and who supported you and who wanted only good things for you. So you took this chance as a like, yeah, time for me to settle down and give up on these childish dreams and just start living, because this is the real life and Cinderella magic just doesn't happen. Anyway, this is what I had for you. It was a very interesting story. Very curious. And don't give up on your childish dreams. Keep them and explore. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I would really love to read for you again. And I hope I see you in my next one. Bye. Hello, my beautiful pile number 2. So you chose the polka dot agate and unrequited love. Okay. So that card speaks for itself. Let's get a few more cards for this. It's almost like somebody... I have a feeling that you were in love with someone who was already married. And they were deeply in love with you, but they decided to stay in the marriage. Pile number 2, Spirit card. Tell me about their past life. Oop, okay, well, we got 2. Wisdom and communal living. I feel like you were a really free spirit, like an artist, a poet, singer. And I feel like you fell in love. I almost feel like you were a man in this other life. And you fell in love with someone like who had a higher status than you and who was married. And almost like I'm being shown glimpses of Moulin Rouge, where well, she wanted to be an actress, but she was an escort. I think it's been a while since I've seen that movie. Oh shit. This artist, I think that he was more like a writer. Yeah, he was a writer, and they fall in love, but they have to keep it a secret because the person who was like who wanted to marry them, the bad guy essentially who wanted to marry her, he was the one who was paying for the play that he was writing where she would be the main character. And so while doing all the writing and stuff, they were like having an affair, and they had like a secret love song in the play. And I almost feel like that is what happened. I'm also being taken again to the Seven Sisters book, the first book, where she has a higher status and he is a sculptor, and they were sculpting or making the statue of the famous statue in Brazil of Jesus, I think. Anyway, she was modeling for the hands of Jesus, and they fell in love while, you know, doing the statue. And she was married. I'm trying really hard to remember the plot. Eventually, I think that she gets married by... No, gets pregnant. She gets pregnant, but she chooses to stay with her husband. And I think the baby was his, but the woman convinced his husband that the baby was his. And so they cut all contact. And I feel like this is something that happened. That you were an artist and you fell in love with this woman, this beautiful woman, and you were doing art together. Maybe she was maybe you were painting her like portrait or something, and you fell in love while doing it. That is something that I see here. And you were the man in this lifetime. Oop! So we have the Hermit. I feel like you were kind of... you had a lot of ladies, but you deeply fell in love with this woman. And after her, nobody could match her, so you stayed alone. You never married. And I don't think that you had any sort of relationship after that either, because you were deeply in love with this woman who just kind of like, oh, cards dropped. King of Wands. I do see this husband as a bit of a bad guy. I feel like maybe he was a little bit abusive or something, and this made this woman fall in love with you mostly. You didn't like this person at all, and he was kind of treating you like crap, like, because you were just an artist, you didn't have a lot of money, so, you know, he could like stomp all over you, and you didn't obviously like that. But you were like keeping your emotions to yourself because you loved this woman and you didn't want to give anything away to ruin things. Like, if he had found out, the result of that would have been disastrous. Okay. That's a little bit too many. So he never knew about this affair, or if he knew, it was, I don't know if he knew. Maybe he suspected. But we have King of Swords. You were so ready to fight for her, but I think that she got scared. Like, what he could do if he found out, or what he could do if you stayed together. Also, because you didn't have a lot of money, and she was accustomed to a certain lifestyle you wouldn't have been able to afford. She was your muse, Princess of Pentacles. She was your muse, and you loved her very deeply. She was a very beautiful woman, gorgeous woman, and you never loved again after her. I feel like she died young, and the husband remarried. She had children, and I feel like you suspected if one of the child could have been yours, because I think that there was timing that, you know, fitted, but she decided to stay with the husband because of the life that he could provide. I think was part of it. But also she was afraid of the consequences, because she would have been cast out by her family, obviously, for running away with an artist. And it would have been really stupid for her. Like, considering what she had, like, she had a wealthy husband, and, you know, she had everything except love, and she fell in love with you. There were a lot of things that affected this relationship, or, well, affected her decision, but mostly it was because she was afraid of the consequences of your affair. So she cut it all off, but you were so ready to fight for her. Pile number 2, Spirit Guide. Pile number, oh, okay. You never had children. Except for the one that you may have had with her. You were very strongly suspecting that he might have been yours. I think it was a little boy. Because I think that he looked like you, and you saw him in passing. And when you saw him, you were like sure that this boy, little boy, was yours. But she never admitted it. She was very afraid. I think that you saw her for like in passing, like after like years. And she was very afraid of like seeing you. Like, I think that it was because she knew that the boy was yours. Like, she was very frightened. But you were civil. You didn't let anything, like, because I think the husband was there or he was near. You didn't let anything slip. You didn't accuse her you didn't accuse her of not, you know, about that son, you know. We have 10 of Pentacles as well. I don't think you ever met this little boy after that. At least you never spoke to him. And this was really hard for you. I think you decided from that day that you would never love again. Well, one reason being that she was special. She was so special. And there was no other girl like her. And so, well, she was everything. And so nobody could ever match her. Nobody would ever even come near her. So you never fell in love with anybody else after that. My chair is being a little bitch. Sorry for my language. Pile number 2, spirit guides. Pile number 2. Final card. What is it about their past life that I should talk about more? I feel like people always wondered why you never married or anything like that, but then again, not really. It was almost because you were really handsome, you were really good with ladies, so they thought that eventually you would marry someone, or at least you would have girlfriends, but then again, you were a poor artist. You didn't have a lot of money, and it would have been kind of like a foolish union for the girl's family to let you marry their daughter. So you never married. I think she died very young. We have the High Priestess. She died very young. But it's almost like I hear this quote from Peaky Blinders, like, after all this time, our love still remains. And you never really gave up on her, and you never stopped loving her, but she died young. And after she died, but she wasn't in your life anymore after that, but it was almost like you lost a part of yourself when she died, even though you weren't in contact. But it's almost like you never really made art after that, I don't think. I think you gave up on art at some point because of the death, because she was your one and only muse, and because she was gone from this world, you didn't have the desire to paint anymore. And I do feel like you were a painter. But while she was still living, I feel like you were still painting her from your memory. But after she died, you gave up on it. I think you got another job. you didn't paint anymore after that. So, is there anything else? Yes, I feel like the husband, he married another girl. He was very intimidating. He was very scary and very wealthy. He had a lot of connections and he was very respected. So if you had taken her, if she had chosen you, you would have basically had to flee because he would have killed the both of you when he would have found out. So, and that's not the life that she would have wanted, to be constantly running from someone. And so that was one of the reasons why she didn't choose you. She was deeply in love with you, but she was afraid. She was scared. And so this is how it happened. Anyway, this is what I had for you. I really hope you enjoyed. I would really love to read for you again. And I hope I see you in my next one. Bye. Hello, my beautiful pile number 3. So you chose the Garden Quartz and Greco-Roman. This scares me because I literally know nothing about this time, okay? And I'm terribly sorry. Excuse me. Let's hope I can give you something because I really know nothing. All I can think of is Philosophers and Hercules. Oh no. So give me some more information about this, please. Oh, that's a little too many, but thank you. Let's give it another try. Pile number 3, spirit guides. How was their past life? What happened? Oh, food and hunger. Actually, what I'm getting from this is that I think that you worked with the poor. I think you worked with the poor. Some sort of like a almost like as if you worked in an orphanage or a mother. So yes, I think that, okay, yes, I think that you worked with children, with poor children that, you know, were in an orphanage or something like this. I'm not sure if you had any of your own children. I think that you worked with children. And you saw these children as your own. Yes, I think that you didn't have any children of your own. But you loved children. And you loved helping people. So I think that you worked with children. Yeah. You always wished to have a child. You always wanted a child. A lot of children actually. But you never actually got any. For some reason. It could have been, I think it was because you were infertile or your husband was, or something like this. I'm just gonna say this. I might get some facts wrong because I just don't know anything about history. This is like a huge embarrassing thing that I'm sorry that I have to reveal, but I'm a science nerd. I'm not. Also, I went to school where we had very little history taught, and we were also not really taught religion either. And it's really weird. I went to school in Sweden, and I'm Finnish, and you know, So I went to school in Sweden. They had a very different like a program. Also the school that I went to was very unusual. It was the emphasis was on learning languages. So I started learning English and Swedish when I was in first grade. I was 7 years old. So the emphasis was on learning languages, and I also studied Spanish from 5th grade. Anyway, let's go on with this, but I'm really sorry if I get some facts wrong. Please correct me if I say something that is just not from this era or something. I really don't know. Anyway, we have the moon. Yeah. You never had children of your own. You really wanted some. I think that you were fortunate in your life, but I feel like you had a very big heart, because you didn't have any children. You had a very soft spot for children that were orphaned or you know, alone, or you know, poor, and you wanted to help them. I think that you may have run an orphanage, and this made you very happy. We have the wheel. This made you very happy. It was almost like your soul purpose, like you needed this. I think that you might still have a very strong desire to be a mother or a father, and if that hasn't happened yet and you still have the desire, I don't know. I think that I feel like from this past life is still affecting your current life. Like you may still have a very strong desire to be a mother. I know this friend, she had a regression therapy done as well, and she, in her past life, she was a mother with like 10 children. She was this Italian mother of a giant family, and in this lifetime she decided that she didn't want children because she had already done it and done it well. So in this lifetime she wouldn't have any children, and so this might affect you as well, but I feel like it's mostly the opposite, because you didn't have any children in this past life. You might still want children in this lifetime, but also if you don't, you know, this is a general reading, so if you don't want children, you don't want children, and that's completely okay. I don't know why people are shamed for not wanting children. I don't know what that is all about. I think that is absolutely crazy. So, pile number 3, spirit guides. Tell me more about this past life. You were a very hard worker. You had this big yearning, like you really, really needed to be a mother. And so you found a way to be a mother to a lot of children. And I think that you were able to change people's lives. Like they were very grateful to you. And it's almost like you saw these children as your own, and you treated them as your own, and you were very proud of them, and you would lecture them, and they would also see you as a mother. And they really loved you. Everybody really loved you, but I feel like you were also very stern, very strict, but in a good way. Like you had boundaries, and there would be consequences for actions. I feel like you were very against stealing, and because these children were poor, they may have been taught to steal, or that was the only way they could survive, but you were very against stealing. And this was something that you would not tolerate. I don't know why that message is coming through, but that is something that I see. You were very strict, especially about stealing. But you were somewhat, you weren't super wealthy, but you did okay. And that is how you were able to start this orphanage. Because you really wanted to help. You were in a position where you could help, so you did. And this is what you felt like was needed in your city or your town, or I don't know. Like literally anything, only thing that comes to mind is Hercules. That's all I get. And the gods, and you know, that's all. That's literally all, and I'm so ashamed. I'm so embarrassed. But, you know. I know a lot about science, though. I know a lot about science, so, you know. Yes, I think that this made you really happy. This was something that you always wanted. And I almost feel like you had a husband or a man in your life at that time, but the fact that you didn't have any children was a huge hiccup in your marriage or relationship. And I feel like this man you had, I feel like you were a woman in this lifetime. I feel like this man didn't understand why you needed this orphanage thing. I think that he didn't quite understand. And I feel like he thought it was strange that you would want to spend all your time with these children that weren't even yours. And I feel like you were estranged if you even had anyone. I'm not sure if you had anyone, because I felt like, I feel like you lived in this orphanage. It could be that he ran it with you, maybe, but he was more distant. There are some like mixed signals about a spouse, a lot of mixed signals. Could be, some of you could have been alone, some of you could have been married, some of you could have worked with your husband in this orphanage. But I feel like you were the one who ran it. You were the one who made all the decisions, and you were the one who kept everything together. But I feel like they might have had some sort of position in this work. And I do think that you changed many people's lives for the better, and you were very loved. You were so loved by all of these children, and you had love to give for all of them. And I really think that this might be a desire that you still carry with you, that you need to have children of your own. And if not, then you have fulfilled that desire probably in your past life. So that's completely okay too. But I do think that you lived very happily. This wasn't a work that would get you a lot of money because it was mostly charity work. So it's almost like you made enough to make ends meet. And but this made you really happy. This was a very happy life that you lived. And like not everybody saw that, like not everybody could understand, but yeah, you were so happy. There was still this, I feel like you still wish that you could have had your own children, but as the time went on, you were more happy for not having your own children, because then you probably wouldn't have gotten this orphanage to run, and you wouldn't have seen all these beautiful babies and given them your love and light. And so in the end, I think that you were rather grateful for not getting these children of your own, because you were able to build something even greater. And yeah, that's really incredible. I feel like you were a really hard worker. You were always doing something. And well, obviously having a lot of kids keep you very busy, but you were always able to give them some time with you. And they really saw you as a mother, and they really loved you. And I don't know. I don't know about this. There are like some messages that are coming through, but I can't really grasp them. I don't know what they are all about. I don't know. Anyway, the children were really happy with you. You were strict. You had your rules, and there were consequences for breaking your rules. And but still, everybody really loved you. And you were very respected as well. And I almost feel like there was this like I almost see like a statue of you like being made because of all the help that you had done. Is that weird to say? I feel like there was a statue made of you. Interesting. So what else? What else? I feel like you have had many past lives, but I also feel like you have mostly been a spirit guide to most people. I don't think that you have had several past lives in several different places, but you mostly like to guide. That is something that I feel like that is still like deep within you, that you like to guide others on their path. And I feel like you mostly like to be a spirit guide. Or where if you had, let's say you were born and you had a life, in that life as well, I feel like you might have liked to guide people. You have this leader energy, and I feel like it still lingers. Like that is what your soul is all about leading and guiding. And so whenever you were born and you had a life, you were some sort of a leader or some sort of a guide. And when you weren't, you were very happy to be somebody else's spirit guide. So I feel like you have been all around. You have had many past lives in several different situations. But I feel like this specific past life has a strong effect on you on this lifetime. So I feel like you still may have like a lingering feeling like I want to have children. I want to have children of my own. Or just, you know, I want to adopt children. I want to have children. Or it could be completely the opposite. Like, I'm done having children. I don't want them anymore. I have had enough in this past lifetime. So if you do not want children in this lifetime, it could be because of this lifetime. This lifetime has an effect on you, that I have had enough children, so in this lifetime I'm gonna take a break from having kids. So that is something that I feel for some of you. Anyway, this is what I had for you. I really hope you enjoyed. I would really love to read for you again, and I hope I see you in my next one. Bye.